Today on Locked On Rockies, the story of two seasons.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 28th day of January in the year 2022. I'm your Rockies fan extraordinaire, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Proud to be your first listen of the day, and we are free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. We're also live on YouTube. If you subscribe to Locked On Rockies on YouTube, you're making the show grow, and you're doing me a big old favor and helping us here at the pod. So check that out, subscribe there, and join into the live chat like so many of you do all the time. Today on Locked On Rockies, we are going to be talking about Elias Díaz. We have to talk about Elias Díaz because he's once again having a season where, boy, oh boy, does it just seem like once the year heats up a little bit, he has really just kind of started taking off and been a key contributor to the Colorado Rockies after he comes up big in the walk-off win for the club last night. I guess I should say yesterday. Before we do that, I've got to tell you again that we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network and that I'm your Rockies fan extraordinaire, Paul Holden, bringing you all your Rockies information, covering the team for a year and some change now, 2 seasons we've been talking on this pod together. And why Elias Díaz again is because I got to follow up. I made a whole pod. We talked on during the All-Star break that Elias Díaz needs to step it up, and he already was underway with doing that when we were releasing that podcast, and when he had already started heating up. But now Elias Díaz has been someone the Rockies have been able to count on in this last stretch. Look at how the season starts for Elias Díaz. April, pretty darn good start there. 263 average, an OBP of 300, and a slugging percentage 439, OPS of 739. But then a big dip into May there, and with only getting 10 hits in the entire month of May. However, drawing those walks, Elias Díaz might not have been swinging the ball as big as in terms of batting, with that batting line of 161 batting average, 229 OBP, slugging percentage of 194, and an OPS of 422. Elias Díaz, abysmal in the month of May, but something that's been key for Díaz this season, drawing walks. 6 walks drawn there in that month. In June, he takes a nice big step forward, increasing his batting average by nearly 100 points and getting a batting 241, 293, 444 on the slugging, and 738 OPS. Again, not too crazy, but again, instead of a regression, it's a step forward. And now, so far in the month of July, 327 average, an OBP of 421, 531 slugging, and an OPS of 952, while also matching the amount of walks he took in the month of May. Elias Díaz is having not only confidence at the plate to get the job done in terms of hitting the ball and generating offense, he's also being patient at the plate and taking pitches and giving himself ample opportunities to get on base, to be effective in multiple ways. I love watching when Elias Díaz is locked in. You can see it. When he has the confidence and he has the timing down of pitching, he does bring a little bit more confidence in his swing and in what he brings to the plate. I think he's someone that you can kind of tell. I mean, he wears being on and off. I think a little bit more, not in terms of just, you can see it a little bit more in the play of what he does. But again, one of the things that has been great for Díaz there is drawing these walks. You can always draw more walks, sure. And of course, the big caveat when he was drawing those walks in May is he struck out 17 times. Oh my God, this ad there. But anyway, 17 strikeouts in May as well. So not seeing the ball up in that direction and seeing in terms of making contacts, but those are it's a good sign that the strikeouts have dropped now for the next couple of months. July, he would have to in the next few games over this weekend set with the Dodgers, he would have to strike out at least five times to strike out more this month than in June. If he can keep that strikeout numbers, he took more walks in July, striking out less, and another month of increasing his batting line shows you that Elias Diaz is just someone that gets better as the season goes on. We saw it last year as well. He's someone that was forgettable, honestly, for most of the beginning of the season. But if you dive into, man, autoplay ads just killing me on ESPN's website right now. Elias Diaz in April of last year batting 103, 205, 128, and an OPS of 333. In May of 2021, 146, 182, 244, 426. But what you see from when you go down his entire line of offense for Elias Diaz, it gets better as the season goes on. Jumps to 260, the batting average in June. July up to 279, August 282, over 300 in September and October. Obviously only being the one day there, but again, an increase in batting average as the season goes on, an increase in he gets better at taking walks, not as much as the season goes on. He goes down in some walks, but RBI generation goes up as the season goes on, and the strikeouts top out early. As if Elias Diaz is to kind of follow his trends there, he will top out at a not a bad strikeout total, but still double digits there. Man, you can just enough with these ads. Holy smokes! Okay, we're just gonna get rid of that. The joys of recording live. But if that trend is to continue, if we're going to continue to see Elias Diaz improve as the season goes on, he's going to show why the Rockies turned to him and going to rebuild that confidence in him. And if Elias Diaz is contributing to the offense, that adds another wrinkle where the Rockies will be a little bit more a clutch in situations. We talked a lot, I think it was even just yesterday, about the Rockies missing that clutch hit, missing that clutch factor, and Elias Diaz steps up and gets the job done for the club yesterday. That's the type of stuff you need Elias Diaz to do. That's the type of stuff you need, the type of production you need from the bottom of your lineup to in order to win games like that one last night. And that's how you win games in the ninth. You also win games in the ninth by taking pitches, and boy, oh boy, was that a crucial. The Rockies drawing those walks in the end. It's to allow yourself not to have the jitters and kind of take good approaches at the dish. The Rockies showed in both of those games an ability to take pitches in big situations. Maybe they needed to be more aggressive, and the Rockies had some bad luck with the double plays. And it wasn't just bad luck. You need to be better than that. However, the Rockies getting that many pitches from the White Sox closer, from Hendricks in that first one, and McMahon even getting that home run. I love the approaches by Rockies hitting in the ninth. It's the good discipline, and that's how you score a crooked number in the bottom of the frame when you desperately need it. And because of that, you really rattle the pitcher, and of course, and Elias Diaz was able to just put the ball in the right situation. It wasn't too much. He didn't do too much with the ball, but he found the right pitch and he rifled it through. Rockies win. You got to love that, and you got to love good discipline at the plate. Another Rocky who has really stepped it up, and a couple more words about Elias Diaz in his recent stretch, as well as a dive into the live chat coming up. But before we do that, got to tell you about our friends at the Sports Card Investor app. It is the world of sports cards reimagined. It's the tool that you need if you are someone that takes the hobby seriously, or if you are just getting started. It's going to help you see card availability, value, trends, what's going on, what can you expect to see from the world of sports cards. You all know how crazy that market can be, especially if you're involved in making it part of what you do. You all see the videos online. People are cracking packs like it's nobody's business, and you got to have the must-have tool for your understanding of the value and your cards. Quickly check the value of your favorite cards, find great deals, and profit from the hobby you love with the Sports Card Investor app. Available completely free in the Google Play and Apple App Stores, the Sports Card Investor app is a must-have for baseball fans. It's completely free, and there's over 630,000 cards from every sport with hundreds more added each week. Download the Sports Card Investor app today, available for free in the Google Play and Apple App Stores, or go to sportscardinvestor.com/locked-on. That's sportscardinvestor.com/locked-on. Elias Díaz in the last 30 days for the Colorado Rockies has a batting average of 302, an OBP of 380, and a slugging of 521. And if you want to go in a smaller size, average of 327, an OBP of 421, a slugging of 531. And in his last week of baseball, Elias Díaz has batted 476 with an OBP of 593 and a slugging of 810. He has struck out 22 times in his last 30 games. That's a bit much. But then when you look at everything else, last 30 games, 10 RBI or 10 walks, 21 RBIs, 4 home runs with 29 hits in 96 appearances at the dish, and 8 runs. He has turned it up, and that's what you need from Elias Díaz. The Rockies really need him to be someone that can contribute on offense. The catcher position is so hard to get offense generation from, especially for the Rockies, but second half, Díaz has been someone they can turn to, and hoping it continues, because that adds a nice, again, going to pad that bottom of the lineup. It's going to be nice if Jose Iglesias continues in a rhythm and Elias Díaz continues in this rhythm. They're going to be a nice little threat continuing at the bottom of the order, especially when you add in this next player who has also had a really, really strong chunk of time for the Rockies here now after an abysmal start to the season. We talk about him a lot, but Brendan Rodgers has really turned it around. Last 30 games for Brendan Rodgers, he is batting 305 with an OBP of 351 and a slugging of 492. 10 walks, 18 RBIs, 3 home runs, 36 hits in 12 runs, 20 strikeouts in those last 30 games, but he has been an absolute firecracker, X factor for the Rockies. Brendan Rodgers is doing exactly what the Rockies need him to do. He is going to be a future all-star. He's going to be someone that the Rockies, I think, are going to be. He's going to be a leader on this team. I think if he eliminates that slow start, and now that he's had a couple of years under his belt, Brendan Rodgers is going to continue to take steps to being a leader on this team and being someone that Rockies fans are going to have at the top of their list of players to watch and players they enjoy watching. He is tenacious on defense. When he's made mistakes, the improvements and the changes and the ability to bounce back throughout his entire career has highlighted the fact that Brendan Rodgers is a good baseball player, and the Rockies got a really, really solid second baseman there. Comparing it to, for example, your Ryan McMahon, his counterpart there in the infield, to someone else that I think it was someone that's kind of in that Brendan Rodgers category. These new faces of the infield, these two are the big names. Obviously, CJ Cron's over there, but when you're talking about your defenders, you're talking about your middle infielders, you're talking about this history of Rockies infield, Rodgers and McMahon are the two names that are going to be the ones that come up. We've already discussed in depth about McMahon needing to step it up, but it still reigns true. 27 strikeouts from McMahon, however, 16 walks, only has a 240 average with the 350 OBP and a slugging of 380 in his last 30 games with 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. The 16 walks is nice and 24 hits. These two need to both trend up at the same time. These two, if they can take over, they will be able to carve out their own identity. But in my eyes, we're seeing Brendan Rodgers taking the steps forward and becoming more of the player that I think the Rockies were, I don't know if they were expecting, but hoping for the production levels of Ryan McMahon. But maybe now we can start readjusting and using Brendan Rodgers in different areas instead of Ryan McMahon. And Ryan McMahon can maybe benefit a little bit more from being in that certain position and that certain part of the batting order, the top half and the middle half of the lineup. You can kind of maybe drop him a little bit further when you can put Rodgers up ahead, and you have Iglesias, obviously, as the other X factor there, because Rockies can't keep relying on Rymack in certain situations when they are having Brendan Rodgers do that. And they did that yesterday. What we saw in the lineup yesterday was a little bit of a shakeup. We see McMahon drop down in the lineup and goes 1 for 2 with 3 walks in the game. I mean, that's pretty darn good when you consider how it's been for McMahon. That is a wonderful way to keep the go into that bottom list of Elias Díaz and Daza. If McMahon can continue to develop that, if he's walking, that means he's going to see the ball better, and hopefully that means he's going to at least be striking out less. If he can just swing and miss a little bit less in terms of what he's doing. But encouraged by some of the stuff, but I'm definitely encouraged by Brendan Rodgers and Elias Díaz. In the live chat here, Alec Hart says, I really hope we trade somebody. And, it's interesting. There's everything you read and everything you see out there does say the Rockies should trade. The Rockies are, they've heard some interest in Daniel Bard and all of this and things of this nature. There's just no concrete evidence, and I mean that this team's going to do anything. I think Rockies fans really need to be ready for the deadline to pass next week without anything happening with the Rockies other than extensions. I wouldn't be surprised if they extend most of these players instead of trade them off and see what they can do. Even if it is a rental, I don't know why the Rockies and other teams don't explore more of the idea of getting something back and telling them, hey, let's circle back in free agency anyway. I don't see why maybe that there's some tampering or something there. Maybe there's some rules that prevent that. But I think Rockies fans need to. I think you're going to see the same team the entire season, and of course, I don't agree with that. Of course, this is a moment for the Rockies to take a step up and build on some solid foundational pieces that they do have, in addition to some exciting young players. But I don't. I think we need to get ready and accept the fact that the Rockies aren't going to do anything. I'm preparing for that to be the case. I'm expecting it to be a quiet deadline for the Rockies. You might see maybe like a Colome get moved or something, but I don't think you're gonna. No moves are really going to be made. Alex says, I actually do like this front office philosophy. It just doesn't fit this team. We're not good enough to have this extend players and keep guys here approach. You're right. You need to understand where the Rockies buy too much into. They really think that they're competitors no matter what the record says. And like we talked about earlier on, Bud Black is going on the radio saying his pitching rotation is a playoff caliber rotation when they are in last place or second to last place or third to last place in so many categories. It's a disillusioned view of this team that hampers the good things that they actually do. It's okay to try to plan for the future. It's okay if you say, you know what, at this deadline, we know that we got some pieces that we're excited about for 2023. Let's try and build a little bit more and see what we got heading into that and add a little bit more depth to this team, which could use it. Whereas, because a lot of these trade pieces for the Rockies are free agents. It's not a guarantee that all of these players are going to come back to the Rockies. They could. But are you really going to bring back all 4 of the pending free agents for the Rockies? I don't think so. Do you want to do that? I don't think so either. Changing gears here to tonight's matchup with the Dodgers at Coors Field. Dodgers Rockies, the 65-32 Dodgers. Oh boy, Big Brother is in town here for the Rockies, and it's a home series. The Rockies have played pretty darn well in the NL West. Can they build off of the nice splits? Can they build off of it wasn't even really a nice split, honestly. It was kind of a frustrating split. Tyler Anderson's coming into town at that 10-1. He's got Coors Field blood in him. Can the Rockies overcome this? This is when you're looking at competitive teams, like when you look at this Dodgers team with That's when you have the confidence to go in and say that you are a competitive team and that your team is in the right spot. This is a Dodgers team. Let's how the Dodgers have been playing good baseball as they normally do, and it's getting better. They are looking to buy as well. They did just lose a series to the Nationals, but they just swept away the Giants before that. Took the Angels down in a quick 2-game sweep and beat the Cardinals before that. And they also took down the Cubs in a series before that. And of course, earlier this month, swept away the Rockies. The last time these two teams matched up in LA, the Dodgers did the damage to the Rockies. Didn't dominate, though, very much. The Rockies did have opportunities in a lot of those games. Didn't have more than a 3-run loss. They'd have the 3-run loss on the 5th, and most of those games close up until late, especially with some of these issues. They're rolling. If you want to, this is the ultimate test right here every time. You want to, can you hang with the big dogs? Is this rotation really playoff caliber? Then the Dodgers are coming to town and you handle business against them at home. That's how you prove and show that this team is for real and makes you feel a little bit better when you say that we're confident in this team. Are we going to see that this weekend? We'll see. Jose Urena is going to get things started for the Rockies here tonight. Let's see here. For the Dodgers, is there any surprises? Nope. You got your usual lineup there, and the Rockies again have to deal with the Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman lead off, and then it doesn't get any easier for the Rockies when they have some players that might be struggling this season, but have always been great against the Rockies there, especially when you look at the bottom of that lineup with Max Muncy and Cody Bellinger there waiting to do damage to the Rockies as well. We'll see how the Rockies handle this playoff caliber team to see if their rotation really is playoff caliber and if Elias Díaz will continue the hot start. But folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for joining us today and for tuning in on the streaming services or on the YouTube live show. We will be back in action tomorrow talking more things Colorado Rockies. You can follow the show at LO Rockies and me at Paul Holden 33. And make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube and don't miss out on all your Colorado sports coverage with the Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, and Locked On Nuggets podcast. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long.